The Tuesday morning sun, usually a welcome sight, felt accusatory on James's skin. It glinted off the hood of his aging Volvo, a testament to practicality over vanity, which was parked squarely behind a police cruiser. The flashing blue and red painted harsh strokes across the otherwise serene suburban landscape. 8-year-old Lily hummed along to the radio, oblivious, as James fumbled for his license and registration. He knew this routine too well. Pulling over a black man in a decent car in a predominantly white neighborhood was practically a civic duty for some officers. "Good morning, sir," the officer said, his voice flat, devoid of any genuine warmth. He was young, barely out of his 20s, with a practiced air of authority. "License and registration, please." James handed over the documents, his hand trembling slightly. He hated this. Hated the feeling of being instantly judged, reduced to a statistic, a potential threat. He was a software engineer, a homeowner, a father, but in these moments he was just a black man in a Volvo. The officer examined the documents with exaggerated scrutiny. "Everything seems to be in order, Mr. Thompson. Just a quick checkup. Step out of the car, please." Lily stopped humming. "Daddy, what's wrong?" Her voice was small, laced with a growing anxiety that mirrored the knot tightening in James's stomach. "Nothing, sweetie," James said, his voice strained. "Daddy just needs to talk to the officer for a minute." "But why?" Her eyes, wide and innocent, were fixed on the scene unfolding. "It's just a routine check, Lilybug," James repeated, trying to keep his voice light. He unbuckled his seatbelt. "Stay here, okay? I'll be right back." He stepped out of the car, the morning air suddenly thick with unspoken tension. The officer gestured him towards the back of the Volvo. James knew what was coming. The questions, the probing, the thinly veiled accusations. "Do you know why I pulled you over, Mr. Thompson?" "No, officer. I was driving the speed limit." "License and registration are up to date. Anything illegal in the car, Mr. Thompson? Drugs? Weapons?" James felt a surge of anger, hot and bitter. "No, officer. Nothing illegal." The officer circled him, his eyes lingering on James's hands, his clothes, his face. James stood rigid, fighting the urge to lash out, to demand respect, to assert his humanity. But he knew that would only escalate the situation. He had to remain calm, compliant, a model of civility, even as his blood boiled. "Just need to run a quick warrants check," the officer said, turning to his cruiser. James watched as the officer spoke into his radio. Every second felt like an eternity. He risked a glance at Lily. Her face was pressed against the window, her eyes wide with confusion and fear. He offered her a weak smile, but he could see she wasn't reassured. He was humiliating her, exposing her to the ugliness of a world he desperately wanted to shield her from. He had taught her to respect the police, to see them as protectors, but what was she seeing now? After what felt like an age, the officer returned. "Everything checks out, Mr. Thompson. You're free to go. Have a nice day." The words were perfunctory, devoid of apology or explanation. James nodded curtly, got back into the car, and drove Lily to school. No mention was made of the incident. The silence that hung in the car was heavy. Lily was quiet during class, unusually so. Mrs. Davis, her teacher, a kind woman with salt and pepper hair and a warm smile, noticed her withdrawn demeanor. "Lily, are you feeling all right, dear?" Lily just shook her head, her eyes fixed on the blank sheet of paper in front of her. "Well, how about we do some drawing? Let's draw something that makes you happy." Lily picked up a crayon, a deep, angry blue. She began to draw. Instead of the usual sun-drenched landscapes and smiling stick figures, Lily drew a stark scene. A dark blue car, a towering figure in a dark uniform, and a smaller, paler figure standing beside it. A small girl with wide, frightened eyes was peering from the car window. The sky was a menacing gray, slashed with red and blue. Mrs. Davis's smile faltered as she watched Lily work. The picture was unsettling, filled with a raw, untamed emotion that was unusual for a child her age. "Lily, what is this a picture of?" Mrs. Davis asked gently. Lily didn't answer at first. She just kept coloring, pressing down hard on the crayon until the tip threatened to snap. Finally, she whispered, "It's what happened to Daddy this morning." Mrs. Davis's heart sank. She recognized the details, the car, the uniform. She had heard stories, whispers from other parents about similar incidents in the neighborhood, but to see it reflected in a child's drawing so vividly, so painfully was a different matter altogether. Later that day, Mrs. Davis called James. Her voice was hesitant, apologetic. "Mr. Thompson, I'm calling about Lily. She drew a picture in class today that, well, it's a bit concerning." James's stomach clenched. He knew. He had known from the moment he saw Lily's face pressed against the car window. He listened as Mrs. Davis described the drawing, the details Lily had captured, the fear and confusion in her eyes. By the time she finished, James's hand was trembling again. "I'm so sorry, Mr. Thompson," Mrs. Davis said. "I just thought you should know. I think Lily is processing something difficult." James thanked her, his voice thick with emotion. After hanging up, he sat at the kitchen table, staring at the wall. He had tried so hard to protect Lily, to give her a childhood free from the shadows of racism. But he had failed. He had exposed her to the very thing he had feared most. The drawing became a scandal. Whispers turned into accusations. Some parents demanded answers. Some teachers expressed outrage. The school principal, caught in the crossfire, called a meeting. James found himself sitting across from the principal, a stern-faced woman with a carefully crafted image and a representative from the school board. He was being asked to explain his daughter's drawing, to justify his family's presence in the community. He refused. He wouldn't apologize for his daughter's feelings, wouldn't justify his existence. He spoke calmly, forcefully, about the incident that morning, about the fear he felt, about the message it sent to his daughter. The principal and the school board representative listened in silence, their faces unreadable. They offered platitudes about diversity and inclusion, but James could see the discomfort in their eyes. They didn't understand. They couldn't understand. The incident with the drawing faded from the headlines, but the damage was done. Lily was different. She was more withdrawn, more cautious. She saw the world through a different lens, one colored by fear and suspicion. James tried to reassure her, to explain the complexities of the situation. But how could he explain something he didn't fully understand himself? How could he shield her from a reality that was so deeply ingrained in the fabric of society? He started driving Lily to school in a different car, an older, less conspicuous model. He avoided certain streets, certain neighborhoods. He changed his route, trying to minimize the risk of another encounter. But he knew that he couldn't protect her forever. He knew that one day she would have to face the same challenges, the same prejudices that he had faced. The weight of that knowledge was heavy. He had wanted to give her the world. Instead, he had given her his inheritance. The color of crayons, a stark reminder of the realities that painted lives in shades of gray.